Hello, Nerders. My name is Maria Park, and this is Approach to Nerd. And in this episode, we are reviewing episode 5 of Batwoman. Mine is a long and sad tale. And oh boy, is it. This entire episode, for the most part, is a big revelation of what happened to Beth, aka Alice, after the accident. But I'm going to start by kind of giving a recap of just one element of episode 4, and that's that Catherine, the wife of Kate's father, has revealed to be what we all have assumed she was, and that is trash. She basically paid people in her company to go out and say that the deer bones that they found by the farm that Beth was suspected of being located at were actually human remains when they were not, preventing Kate and her father from finding Beth for years. So, Catherine's trash. So the episode actually kind of starts but with Catherine revealing to her daughter what she did. So Mary is not thrilled because she loves her mother and she idolizes her mother, even though her mother kind of gets on her nerves. And so this means that she can't trust her mom, and she feels like she's basically the spawn of an evil person. And so she takes these grievances to Wayne Tower to find Kate, to apologize for being, the product of evil, and runs into Luke. And in the episode, Luke essentially becomes her babysitter, as well as trying to investigate a crime that's been happening because someone's been going around slicing off the flesh of corpses. And it's Alice. I mean, they figured it out, it's Alice. This spurred Kate right before Mary arrives to go out and take out all of the goons, crows, whatever, in the hideout that Alice is currently in, and then kidnaps Alice. And Alice manages to convince her that she will tell her what happened to her, was it 15 years ago, if she goes on a road trip with her, which is always not the best idea, but she does. So they go on a road trip, and that's where our episode kind of goes into the past. So we do see that Beth was saved. She was saved by still an unnamed man who has a young son. His name is Jonathan Cartwright, I believe, but they call him Mouse. He's horribly disfigured on his face. And so the father has been doing experiments with like synthetic flesh and masks to try to be able to fix his son so he can have a normal life. Well, when he finds Beth, I guess they were out fishing or whatever, they bring her home, and then the father decides that she's not going home. She's going to live with them forever. So long story short, she tries to contact her father. She manages to get him on the phone. Of course, Beth and the father are there after they trace the call in an instant. And they're rummaging through the house trying to find her. Right before they arrived, when the man figured out that Beth had made the call to her dad, he told her, if they find you, I'm going to kill them. And so she was locked in a little room in the basement, and she was extremely quiet because she believed it. You see Kate walking down the stairs of the basement. She's standing literally on the opposite side of the door. The girl is crying. Very good actress, by the way. And she's trying to send her twin telepathy through the door. And of course, Kate's not feeling it. And so long story short, Mouse, who has the ability to mimic anything and anyone, basically does Beth's voice perfectly, convincing the father that it was a prank call. And so Beth basically listens to them drive away, knowing that was her last chance of freedom. She even makes a comment like that in the episode. So, yeah, she ends up being trapped in there with Mouse, and Mouse slides an Alice of Wonderland book underneath the door, saying he doesn't want her to leave either, and this is to comfort you. Hence why there's always an Alice in Wonderland quote that she uses in the Batwoman series, because at that point she's probably nuts, and Alice in Wonderland was her best friend. So a lot happened as they were doing their recap of Alice's history. The father and Sophie were on the trail of them because Kate had called and they were tracing the phone, telling the father, hey, I'm with Alice. Kind of using it as blackmail for Alice to tell her about her past, but also letting the father know where the heck they were. And so he follows them. Well, they have like a little standoff between the father and Alice, where he basically admits now he thinks that that's his daughter, and you think it's going to be like this sappy moment, but then she stabs him. At the same time, Sophie's in the barn, and Mouse, a full-grown Mouse now, attacks her. She manages to beat him, hurt him and get away. But it becomes a four-person standoff. So you got Kate holding a gun to Mouse. The father's bleeding on the floor. Alice has a knife to the father, and Sophie has a knife to Mouse too. So it's like, but at the end of that, they basically decided to let each other leave. So Alice takes Mouse, and of course Kate and Sophie take the father because he's been stabbed, and they're going to take him to the hospital. Or you want to take him to the hospital. So now we see the one person that Alice cares about more than anyone else, and it is Mouse. I don't know if it's Stockholm Syndrome, I don't know what. An interesting tidbit, though, I looked this up because I'd never actually read a comic that had Mouse in it. And like I said, I've read a lot of comics, but I'm human. But I looked it up, and actually what I've learned is that Mouse, actually, Jonathan Cartwright, is a gender-bended character. He was actually Jane Doe or Jane Cartwright in an episode of Gotham. I never saw the series, so it makes sense that I didn't recognize this. But yeah, that's who Jonathan's supposed to be. Mouse is supposed to be at the male version of the female character created for Gotham in one of the seasons. So that's interesting. But yeah, so I love the dynamic between Mary and Luke. They're adorable. I really think they're going to be Team Batwoman. The way Sophie's going, I'm pretty sure she is too, or at least she's going to be the Laurel character like an Arrow. I don't know if another character is going to come along, because in the comic books, she does eventually end up with Maggie Sawyer. Yes, the Maggie Sawyer from Supergirl, but different variation. It is a different Earth, so they could still do it. They're also, Renee Montoya was also a thing for a very long time. So, but with the CW, canon doesn't really mean a lot. Yes, Barry and Iris are together. Yes, Lois and Clark are together, or will be in their TV show, since it was announced they're getting one. But technically, Arrow was with Black Canary in the comics and every other form of media, which was Laurel or Dinah Lance. But Felicity, who was actually just a minor tidbit character in Batman, not even an Arrow, basically became the main girl. So what do you do? So you never know. There might be another girl that could be a side tiny little character in Batwoman's comic or somebody else's comic that ends up being the love of Kate's life. But Sophie and Kate do have a lot of chemistry. I do think so. And in episode 6, the trailer, it looks like Sophie definitely knows Kate is Batwoman. And since she named Batwoman, that's normally a good sign, because Iris named the Flash, and now look, she's married to him. So I'm just saying, it could happen. It is the CW. And the CW really, they like to reveal big revelations quickly, which I'm not mad at. It's just that they'll build it up and then the next episode is revealed. So I'm wondering if it's because Crisis is coming out in December and Batwoman needs to start getting in mode for that because it's happening. So, and we need to start seeing more signs of Crisis in her series, and also in Black Lightning, which I'm okay with. I love Black Lightning. I just don't know how I feel about him being in the Arrowverse, but that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I'm liking the pace of the show, but they do reveal things very quickly. Like, there's so many plot points that are already revealed. Catherine basically doing what she did, Alice's backstory, Alice being the sister, all of this stuff is revealed, and we're only on episode 5. So I'm hoping it's getting darker, and there's going to be a lot more coming. I still like the show. I'm not a hater of the show. I'm just saying that it's the CW formula. So I'm hoping that they bring us something more to the table, and just because I know Crisis is taking up a lot of time, but come on, we need to have some bigger and darker stories coming. And if they keep incorporating more Batman characters, we probably will. And maybe eventually we'll get Bruce Wayne. Who knows? But hey, if you'd like to sign up for jury duty, hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to know who's next on the ballot, hit the notification bell. Until next time, I can't wait for you to approach the nerd. Bye, guys. And if you have time, make sure to check out some of our other videos.